Hey, y'all, Stephen Faust in for Shane Sams this week. Welcome back to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. Great to be back with you today as I serve another member of our wonderful Flipped Lifestyle community. And you know I'm excited today to talk to my good friend, my brother from another mother, one of our Flipped Lifestyle coaches. And we're going to talk about that too, Eric Wooten. Eric, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good. I'm about to disqualify myself from any coaching by asking you for all the help I need is what I'm about to do.
Man, you're awesome, brother. So, it's hard. Like we say, it's hard to read the label from inside the bottle, right?
Absolutely.
It's hard. So I need help. Shane helps me. You need help. We all need help, but it's amazing. And we'll talk about maybe what you do for us on the coaching side here in a few minutes. But the first thing I want to do is I want to learn, and for the folks listening right now and watching on YouTube, I want to learn. I'll say, I know all this. I have an unfair advantage because I know all this about you, but others out there might not. I want to know about you, your background, your online business. Tell us about all that. What's going on?
Yeah. Me, in a nutshell, I help couples simplify and strengthen their marriages, period. It's, I take the complicated, make it simple, applicable, practical, and just help couples create the relationship they want.
It sounds so simple for one of the most complicated things in human history.
The funny thing is, it really is that simple. And we come now we're complicated. People are complicated. We're a mess, but the actual system of a relationship is pretty simple, right? We need to make sure we're intentionally doing the things that keep us connected and make us feel like we like each other. And we need to eliminate the things that are getting in the way of that. It's gardening. Yeah. Marriage is gardening. You got to feed it the things that help it grow, and you got to weed the things that are causing disconnection and frustration. It really is that simple.
Can't we just all get along? I guess
right? Come on.
Yeah. We could just all get along. So what's your background and experience that kind of led you to, and we'll talk about your online business here in a minute, but what's your background that led you into this world of helping people with their marriages that ultimately ended up with the business that you're running today?
Yeah, it's a weird nonlinear transition from met my wife in college. We got married fresh out of college, worked for my wife's family business, which they do pumpkin seeds for snack food, which is a whole nother.
That's another podcast right there.
That's a whole nother podcast, but did that for about 9 years and then went into full-time ministry in 2005 for about 15 years. So served on staff at a few different churches. And in that process, got a master's in marriage and family counseling, got licensed, and always had a passion for helping couples. And so this was the inevitable end of, at some point, I need to launch my own organization to focus solely on helping couples. So I did that on March 1st, 2020, 2 weeks before the pandemic. So yeah, that was my
impeccable timing.
In fact, yeah, if you want good timing, follow this guy. Yeah. So that was great. Really, I just planned to do what I knew at that point, which was I'd been a teaching pastor. So speaking, doing workshops, getting on stages, and figured, hey, that would be the way I grow a business. And then everything shut down. So I said, well, I should probably learn what online business looks like. And that started the journey.
So it's clear you didn't fall off a turnip truck and just say, you know what, I'm just going to go help people with their marriages. You had some deep training here as a pastor, as a minister in ministry. And then all of that schooling that you got, you were like seriously and formally trained on how to help people through their relationships, right?
Yeah. I feel completely confident helping people with their relationships. The creating an online business around it, I knew absolutely nothing about and still don't know a whole lot about probably.
Yeah, but you know more than most. More than most, my friend.
I know more than I did 3 years ago too. I know that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, just being in ministry, some of the things you've seen in ministry that have helped prepare you, not only just to pivot out on your own, but then to start an online business around that. What are some of the things that ministry has helped you prepare for with your running this business on your own?
I think having to, now I don't have a team now, but having to lead teams in ministry, certainly lead teams of volunteers. So they're not paid. You gotta motivate people. So I think trying to get better at seeing around the corner, seeing what needs to be done, communicating in a way that would both empower and entice people to want to join you on the journey. When you don't have a paycheck to put over somebody's head to get them to do what you need, you got to paint a pretty compelling story. And so I think some of those mindsets have helped me go, okay, well, how do I paint that same story for, people who want to improve their marriages and convince them that I know the environment and path they need to be a part of to make it happen.
Did you do active marriage counseling while in the ministry?
Oh yeah, I was probably that's the only reason, honestly, I got licensed, because I got my degree, but I wasn't gonna pursue licensure because I knew I didn't want to sit in an office and counsel all day. I'm just not wired that way. But I was doing so much counseling, probably 18 to 20 hours a week of counseling for quite a few years, which at that point it was like I might as well get a supervisor and get credit for all these and stick a LPC by my name for whatever that's worth.
So kind of like coaching, in a way, you got tons of reps
Oh
helping
yeah.
people with their marriages, right? So
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, more than a decade easily. I mean, just to get licensed, you have to have 1,500 hours
wow.
of face-to-face counseling. So you can imagine thousands of couples over the last decade.
Yeah, and you're perfectly skilled and experienced to help couples with having a better marriage. And one thing I know, it's an audience that is self replicating, right? It's 50%. I don't know what this, maybe 60% today. I have no idea how many marriages end in divorce, but I've always
Yeah,
have been
that's
told 50%.
that's
Is that
all.
right?
Yeah, it's always been hyped. Real research says that it's probably 42 to 43% was the height of where it was at. But yeah, that's easy to say 50% and doom and gloom.
So 40 to 50% of marriages end in divorce, and people are getting married all the time.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of potential customers out there that need your help.
There should really never be a shortage of potential customers for me. Absolutely not. Yeah.
Yeah. And what would you tell a couple that, because I have friends like this, everybody has friends in this situation. And what do you tell people who are either embarrassed, don't want to get help out of fear of being judged, don't want to get help because people are going to whisper about them behind their back and people are going to look down on them? How do you respond to that for people that are listening right now who look in the mirror and say, maybe I don't have the best marriage in the world. I'm not ready to pull the ripcord on this thing yet, but I'm nervous and embarrassed about maybe asking for help. How do you approach people and get them more comfortable with that?
Yeah, I mean, more than anything, I try to normalize it. I think in general, mental health and counseling has, been more normalized in the past few years. I think it feels like to me in conversations, there's a lot more people now saying, "Oh yeah, I have my therapist," or "Oh, I talked to my therapist," and so I think it's been normalized a little more. But yeah, I'd probably just go with the Dr. Phil quote, for him. How's that working for you? Right? It's like clearly there comes a point. I don't care if it's marriage, it's business, it's parenting, you name it. At some point, if you're stuck and what you're doing is not getting you where you need to be, like go get some help. I mean, we do it everywhere else in our life. We went to school, some of us got degrees, we all worked for bosses. I mean, I don't think why would it be any different for your marriage?
Yeah, and marriages or any type of relationship you could probably help people with, right? Marriage
Oh,
is kind of
absolutely.
your deep training, but friends, coworkers, everybody, life is based on relationships. And if your relationship is not going well, there are things that can be done to make it better. And that's what you help people unpack, it
Yeah,
sounds like.
absolutely. And most people are not as far away from where they need to be as they feel like they are. A
Yeah.
couple little tweaks can make a big difference for sure.
Yeah. And so that's led you into your online business. You said about 3 years ago, two months or a month before the pandemic hit, Altered Marriage. I see your shirt there if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah.
So tell me about your online business. What led you to actually, take the plunge and say, you know what, I'm going to start an online business. I could go do consulting. I could go do just individual counseling and go sit. I know you probably don't want to, pigeonhole yourself into sitting into an office doing that, but what led you to actually start the online business? What's that online business today? What's it look like? What's it called? And what do you offer?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the pandemic is what led me to online business. My
Mhm.
plan March 1, when I left my church and with my box with all my stuff from the last 7 years, my plan was I was going to do some counseling because I was already doing that. I was going to do some in-person workshops or classes. I was getting on the phone with all my buddies at churches and saying, "Hey, when you need a couples night or a marriage speaker or whatever, call me. Happy to come in and do it." And the normal path was go try to do that, sell your books in the back of the room. And so the only thing I really, Stephen, was planning on doing online was my YouTube channel. I was like, I want to
Oh,
do a YouTube channel. I want the accountability of having to put weekly content out. I like that platform. And so I was like, I'm gonna do a YouTube channel, and then everything else I do is in person. That was my plan, March 1. Obviously, by about March 17th, I was like, that plan's probably not going to go real well. So I just started exploring. Obviously, I moved all my counseling online via Zoom, and I'm never going back to an office. Uh, why am I going to pay for an office and get in my car and drive when I can counsel via Zoom? I'll do that all day long. So, and then kind of the first thing I tried was just a Zoom class. So I called a buddy of mine at church and said, "Hey man, well, let's put together a 6-week class for your people, and I'll teach it via Zoom, and we can use Zoom rooms for small groups, and let's just try it." And so we built the plane as it went. Each week I would email him a Word document with an outline of questions to give to his people, and so it went well. I think we had, I don't know, he had some people socially distanced in his sanctuary who were watching on the big screen, and then other people at home. I think we had 27 couples or something that went through, and it was great. And I was like, okay, I guess we can do classes online. So I turned that into a 6-week class with a booklet that I do myself, and I've now cut it down to 4 weeks. So that's a class I do online Zoom. And then I heard about membership. So that's what kind of, I said, okay, well, yeah, let's do membership. So,
yeah, why not? Let's do that too.
yeah, other people are doing membership. I actually met with a couple in California that has a phenomenal online marriage membership where they're serving thousands of people. And I did the math, and even at $9.99 a month or whatever they charge, I'm like, that adds up pretty quick. So if they can do it, I can do it. So I shot some videos with my wife. That's a whole nother episode. She hates being in front of the camera. I forced her to sit down with me and shoot 15 videos, which about put her in the grave and our marriage in the grave. But that's a different podcast. So we got some videos up, and then I said, I'm gonna give people access to videos and do a once a month live call with them and call that a membership and see who I can get signed up.
Awesome. And which method do you prefer? So you're doing these Zoom, I'll call it group coaching, group classes,
Mhm.
and you're doing a membership. Do you still do the group classes separately today, or is it all funneled through the membership?
No, I do those separate.
Okay.
So I've done them about twice a year the last couple years. I've not yet done one this year, but I've been busy working on some other stuff. But no, it's a separate, just kind of one-off product.
Yep. So if I come into your membership, what am I going to see inside your membership? If I have relationship issues, I run across your content, your YouTube videos, I join your membership, I walk into the big beautiful house known as alteredmarriage.com, the membership. What's my experience going to be kind of right out of the gate?
Yeah, you've got access to 2 platforms. I'd love it to be one, but for what I'm trying to do, it's 2 right now. So I've got one platform that houses all the videos, the video content. And so we add a couple videos every month, topics, you name them: communication, conflict, in-laws, boundaries, intimacy, faith, you name it. Videos, anywhere from 15 to 30-minute videos with worksheets so couples can watch them, sit down together, kind of talk through the questions and just strengthen the areas they want to focus on. And then I've got another platform that's our community platform. And so we've
What do
got
you run that on?
Circle. I'm using the
Circle.
Circle app. Yeah. And so we've got a
Yeah.
number of spaces in there for everybody where, we share wins. People can ask questions. I've got separate spaces for husbands and wives where just the husbands are in their space and just the wives in their space so they can interact with each other and get support and encourage one another. We run a monthly challenge. So every month, we're doing a challenge together, and people are posting pictures and their wins and participation, and we gamify it. They've got badges in there. So if you participate in it, you get the little monthly challenge badge that goes with it. And then I do some live calls each month. So I do a once a month call for couples, and then I do a men's call, and I've got another gal that does a ladies call once a month. So they'll get a few live calls, interaction in a community, challenges, and then access to the whole video library.
So it sounds to me that people can come in there maybe with a relationship struggle, but it's also a good place to have ongoing maintenance for your
Oh,
relationship.
for sure. Yeah. Yeah. It's a good way. And, when I talk to people about relationship, one of the keys is intentionality, and a lot of people just aren't intentional and they don't have accountability. So it's a great way to, hey, put on your calendar, every second Monday of the month, we got a live call. We know we want to be a part of that. We know there's going to be a challenge every month that will keep us active in our relationship. And so, yeah, it really is about keeping people intentional and doing the things that matter most for them.
Yeah. And if I'm inside your membership and I'm like, this is great, but I just want more access to Eric. How would I be able to do that? If I said, look, Eric, this is great, but I want to add to this maybe some one-on-one. Do you offer any of that as well?
Yeah, yeah, I do one-on-one counseling. So a number of people who are in membership also come for counseling, sometimes on a regular basis. And again, they all feed each other. So sometimes somebody will find me for counseling because they're in a crisis, and we'll kind of right the ship and steady them. And then I'll usually encourage them to get in membership so they can continue to maintain the growth they've had, and vice versa. People will be in there and be like, this is great in a group, but hey, we need some one-on-one. We're stuck in an area. And so they'll sign up for counseling. Or I do retreats as well, a couple retreats. So my next one is coming up this summer, and we'll be in the DR with some couples, and my favorite friend, who is also a sex therapist, she's coming along to teach us some intimacy stuff. So it was funny. We were on a call with the couples who are coming, and one of the couples like, who's this other lady? She was worried. She's like, are we going to be doing like weird group activities together? I said, absolutely zero group activities. That's not how we roll. I think she probably saw a couples retreat movie and thought we'd be doing some downward dog yoga or something together.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. So that's coming up. That's in the Dominican Republic. When is that? Next month, or when is that?
It's end of July. Yeah,
End
I
of
don't know
July?
when this will air, but it's end of July. Yeah.
That's always a good time. And you have, how many couples typically do you have on that?
Yeah, I keep it from 6 to 10. I don't for these type of events, I don't want to go over 10 because I want it to, feel pretty personalized and make sure we're having some good interaction. So I may in the future do some kind of a little lighter, more enjoyable kind of getaways where we can take 20, 30 couples and focus more on fun. But these are a combination of fun, but we're going to dig in. We're going to dig in and talk about some stuff too. So.
No, that's good stuff. So it's a bit of a mix. You do some one-on-one, you have your membership going, you do a retreat. So it's kind of choose your own adventure in some ways in your program, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so how many members do you have right now?
Good question. I saw a cancellation email today, so I had to pat myself up on the back and tell me I'm good enough and
you
smart
ignore
enough.
those,
So
man.
it's right in
those.
that low 80s, I think I'm at.
Okay. So let's say you have 80 members. So got to get you to 100. Number one,
For sure.
80 is great. 80 is more than what most people will ever get because they're not being intentional. And one thing you've done is you've been very intentional in how you've pivoted and some of the things you're doing in your online business, as well as the one-on-one, as well as the in-person retreat. So you've kind of got a layered cake approach to how you're running this business. So you're at 80 members. And what are some of the things you're thinking about, fears or obstacles, things that are holding you back, things that you're thinking about? How do we get this now in your mind? How do we blow this thing up to get you to 100? First step is 100. We got to get to 100 first. And then it's 200. It's going to be a lot easier than that first 100 is going to be to get to that second 100. So what are some of the things that you're thinking about, considering, or what you feel are holding you back?
Yeah, I think it's just marketing strategy at this point. How do I get some more eyeballs on here? Do I have the right I think the question we're all asking, am I appealing to the right audience? Am I bringing in the right people into my funnel, and am I moving them towards stuff that they see value in that's going to help them? But then am I getting enough eyeballs on it? So what are the other strategies I need to be using to get in front of people and get them into my membership.
And right now, your main content is YouTube?
Yeah. Yeah. Main content is YouTube, obviously some Instagram, Facebook, social media
Yeah.
posting, but YouTube's weekly content. That's probably the bulk of people getting into my lead magnet and stuff are probably coming through YouTube. Um, so yeah. So basically some social media marketing, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and then obviously the email list, continuing to email market, monthly specials, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the easiest thing to do out of a number of things you could do. So you got YouTube as your core platform. So really, you've been all in on YouTube for a while now. You've been producing content, as I understand it, pretty regularly every week for a while,
Three
a long
years.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have plenty of content out there that people can find, stumble across, find intentionally through search or whatever. That's so number one, you have a clear call to action on all your YouTube that's sending them back to your site.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
So you have that covered. Secondly, your email list. How big is your email list?
A little over 2,000, 2,100.
Okay. And
I
how
think
often
like
do you,
500 of them are blocked right now. So I always have to go like hard bounce or,
they're bounced. Yeah.
yeah, all that kind of stuff. Like, well, those 500 aren't doing me any good. So
Yeah. And it doesn't hurt just to clean those off. If they're not going to get any of your email, then the people that are hard bounce that you go into, and I know you use Kartra as your email platform and your CRM and all, but just to clean, and I know it's hard because I know for me, when I take a person out of my email list, it kind of hurts. It kind of hurts, even though they may not be getting all my emails, right? It still kind of hurts a little bit, right?
Well,
But
some of them are even like people who are legitimately in my membership or have come to my products. Like some of them are just random, but some of them I'm like, this person has a red circle and says they're blocked, but I'm not sure why.
and why would they be blocked? What's blocked? Their email address is bad?
It just once there's an issue like a hard bounce or multiple soft bounces or something, it puts a little red circle and kind of calls them blocked. So when I send it to everybody, it takes them off of it.
So they're not getting your emails anyway.
No. Might as
So
well take them off.
I would just take them off, take the hit. That's going to help your deliverability. Well, they're not getting them anyway, but it doesn't hurt your reputation, your email, your reputation with all the things out there. And then how often are you emailing your list right now?
So guaranteed, weekly. So every Tuesday when my YouTube video comes out, that's just a blast to everybody with adding value, right? Whatever the topic is. And hey, here's some content and go check out my YouTube. So that's a given. And then in between that is, I try to run some kind of special at least once a month for membership, whether it's a quarterly special or a % off a monthly or a free trial or something like that. And then every once in a while, I'll throw in specials. I've got a communication course I really don't sell many of. So sometimes I'll throw that out there. Or if I've got a retreat coming up, I'm going to be pumping the retreat or a class. And so that's kind of the outside of the weekly, kind of depends.
Yeah. And one thing I've learned, I think some of this from Shane, obviously, but what I've learned is you never need a good reason to email people.
Sure.
Right. It's just, you just don't. And one of the things that you do well is you're producing regular content on YouTube. And that is a good reason, a good excuse to send people an email. Hey, click here, go check out my YouTube video this week. You can also I would also go back because out of 2,000 people, call it 1,500 people with 500 blocked, right? Out of 1,500 people, there are certainly 20 of them there that will join your membership if you position it in the right way to get you to 100, right? So number one is I would start emailing them every day, right? I know that sounds, and people listen to this go, oh my gosh, I used to think this too, right? Oh my gosh, I can't do it. I can't do it. Then you kind of get beyond kind of that thought, because we got to remember when we email people, they're not seeing every email. They're not opening every email, and they're not clicking every email. So of the daily emails we send, they may actually only see and open maybe one, maybe two. They may click one. So we are the only people that feel the weight of over emailing. No one else feels it because there's 80 other emails in their box. And I like to think of it as if I'm a hockey player, and I don't follow hockey, but it's the only analogy I'm smart enough to think of. If if I'm putting shots on goal and every shot's an email, I'm bound to wear that goalie out at some
At
point.
some
And
point, right? Yeah.
he's going to let one get right by him. And it doesn't mean he's not a good goalie. It just means that I've overwhelmed him with volume.
Yeah.
And one thing I know about customers of any niche and of any type of niche or idea or anything, if they don't have the problem that you solve at that moment, they're not going to buy your product, right? If they don't feel compelled and feeling at the point of pain where they are looking for something in that moment, they're not going to buy. And if they don't see that you are offering a solution, they're not going to buy. So since I don't know when that problem is going to be, I want to hit them with so many emails, knowing they're not going to see them all, click them all, open them all, hit them with so many emails that it's almost as if, hey, I have a problem today. My husband and I are having a problem today. We're not in a good way in our relationship. And Eric happens to have a solution that's in front of me today. And it's like you read my mind. No, I've been reading your mind every day. You just haven't opened my emails.
Yeah.
And today the problem was so great or so painful that you were very aware of an opportunity to find a solution, and you happen to be at the top of the inbox. And that's the only reason I send volume, is because we don't know when our customer is going to need us. So we have to be there all the time, expecting that moment could be now.
Yeah.
And I don't look for good reasons to email. I assume that if someone is on my list, that they are struggling or have interest in something that I do. And what I do is I help people through paid products and services. So I hit them with, hey, today's Thursday when we're recording this. Happy Thursday. It's a beautiful day. It's 110 degrees in Phoenix. Would you like to buy my stuff? Right? Here's my stuff. Is today the day that you have the problem that I can help you solve? It's $39 a month and it can change your life. Oh, it's not today? Okay, no problem. I'll be back tomorrow and I'll ask you the same question. So number one, I think for you is leverage the 1,500 people you have on your email list. And I would encourage you to try to find ways for them to say, Eric is not my cup of tea. Because if you're not their cup of tea, they're never going to buy from you anyway.
Yeah.
And let's flush that out faster with them to see if they're going to need your help. And with the advent of Chat GPT and with everything, you can put stuff in there, write great emails, tweak it up a bit, put your call to action, click this link, and people buy or they don't buy, or they unsubscribe and you move on.
Yeah. Do you recommend, just if you're emailing that often, picking like one pain point per email? So like if I just went in Chat GPT, since you mentioned it, and said, give me top 5 pain points of couples, it's going to be conflict, communication, and so oftentimes when you're hitting them, it's like, hey, struggling to communicate, do you get stuck in cycles of conflict? Do you wish you had greater intimacy? Or do you find if you're emailing daily, it would be like, you know what, today's just going to be all about, we don't feel connected. We feel like roommates. I wish we had, the friendship back, and just focus on one thing. Boom, I got the answer, as opposed to, or do you just hit the same pain points every time anyway?
I would hit the different pain points. There's no right or wrong. I think because you're talking to 1,500 people, everyone's going to have a different view of what their pain point is. So I would think that you're going to hit them with relative pain points that they could feel in a poor relationship that you could help them solve, whatever that is. And the main thing is like, here's a pain point. This is a struggle. Here's a solution. Here's my link to my solution. I'd love to be able to serve. I can't serve you more in this email, but I can serve you if you click this link, join our program, come in and find the amazing resources, the live interaction, and other couples who are also going through this to get help, support, and encouragement. That to me is what you're trying to get them to take us, the kind of that look in the mirror. How do you help yourself? Well, come into our program and let's do that together.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. And then, if you're not comfortable doing every day, go to 3 times a week or go to something, but But the more you email the list that you have, and the more in every email, I always tell people this, every email should have a way for them to give you money, right? Every single email. Maybe not like click my PayPal, give me cash button, but maybe it's a
Right.
link that goes to a sales page. Maybe it's a link that goes to a checkout page. Maybe it's a link that sends them somewhere that there's a place for them to go give you money, because that's, from an email marketing standpoint, that's what we want to do. Ultimately, I don't think of it as offers. I think of it as invitations. We're inviting people to come in and get help. You've asked to be on my list. You've asked for input and help and support and guidance, because I don't have any way of knowing what exactly that is. So I'm going to keep throwing things in front of you, trying to find the thing that you need help with and give you a way to go find the solution that we offer at Altered Marriage, which is our Altered Marriage membership, right? So that's the way I look at it. If they leave, hey, they probably weren't going to buy stuff from you anyway,
Sure.
or they're already past the point of the divorce that they're
Yeah.
like, I don't need help. I just need a good attorney. I need a junkyard dog to go out there and help me out. So number one, I think that's low hanging fruit for you.
Yeah.
Is just exploit in a positive way. Think of it as inviting people in for help, your email list. And you just rattled off like 2 weeks of emails just when you started going through pain
Oh, sure.
points.
Yeah.
And one of the things I do is I take things out of my membership. So I have a lot of templates in my membership, and you have a lot of content in your membership. So I'll take a little snippet, a little example out of my membership, and I'll use that in an email. It's like, hey, check this out. This is something. Oh, if you like that, you can get more if you click here.
Yeah.
Right. And just give them, I'm giving you this value. And if you click here, there's so much more value. And it's I always say, kind of rounds to free, right? It's so inexpensive. It just rounds to free. Let's just call it free. It's $39, $50, whatever. It kind of feels like free for all this value that you're getting. And you can do that too with your content that's in your program now. It's just give it to them in little bits and pieces and let them come in and get it all at once.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, man. And okay, so that's one thing you could do, like starting tomorrow, to get some people, because we're only saying, hey, next step here is 20 more members. Let's get 20 more members. Let's get to 100, and then the next 100 are going to be a lot easier, because the things you've learned in the first 100, you're going to be able to apply to the second 100. It's going to go so much faster for you as well. So what else? What's the other thing? You had mentioned webinars as a possible.
Yeah, I think
too.
the one, a lot of people are using webinars. I think two, my ability to connect with people via conversation or live is probably going to have a better return than reading copy.
Yeah.
Generally. So that was my thought around that, is let me get in front of them, give them some real value, add value to them, see if I could build some kind of rapport with them. And then, would they be more apt to come in through that than they are emails?
Yeah. And a lot of folks say webinars are dead. And that's true. Webinars that suck are dead. Right.
Right.
So it's like anything in life. If you do a horrible job of it, you're not going to get a good response. But good webinars, and I tend to think of webinars these days as the shorter than they used to be. These days of the 2-hour webinar, they can still work. They can still work fine. But I think people are limited on time. They want to come in, they want to get a result, they want to move on with their life. So I'm more of a fan of the shorter webinar that is adding real value, but then giving people a real opportunity to get deeper help and support. And it's not smoke and mirrors. It's like, hey, I'm Eric. Welcome to my webinar. At the end of this, I'm going to show you ways to learn more, go deeper with me. But right now, let's go focus on learning this.
Yeah.
Right. And I know you have a lot of that content. You have so many webinar topics that you could get lost in the different topics because of relationships and things like that. But what I would say is find one that is going to hit a nerve with people that most relationships have a struggle with. Develop what your webinar is going to look like. Russell Brunson has a great framework for that. I know Shane uses uses a lot of that at times and kind of builds his own around that. But having a real value-based webinar that is maybe a little shorter than the history of webinars has shown,
no,
maybe
I'd
an
probably,
hour.
I can get in and out in an hour
Yeah.
and add plenty of value.
Is that
So,
with pitch? You can get in an hour with?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think I could do, 5-10 minutes of intro, 25 minutes of real solid content teaching,
Yeah.
some Q&A, pitch and some Q&A for sure.
Yeah. So you do all that in an hour, make it really valuable, impactful for the time people are committing to it. And then you pick the one topic and you stay with that one topic, right? It's easy to say, yeah, but I can go, that one didn't convert well, so I'm going to go change my topic. The challenge is until you've done a dozen of these with the one topic, because it's going to take you a little while to dial it in. It's going to take you a little while to get comfortable with how the content, not your command of the content, but the way the content flows and the way that you're transitioning from segment to segment, from the value to the pitch, and stacking the value of what you offer and make it a no-brainer. That's going to take some time to get dialed in. But then the magic of webinars, you have all of that because you can get to that pretty quickly. Now we need butts in seats.
Yeah.
That's going to be the key. And I think the math will say you get 100 people on a webinar, you're going to get 20 to 30 show up, like a 20 to 30 show up rate these days on a webinar. And of the 20 to 30 that show up, you're going to give them value. You're going to compel them to join your program and demonstrate and stack the value. And then you're going to have, 5 people, maybe a 10% hit rate on live attendees. So you're going to have maybe, 5, let's call it 5 people that join live. And then you're going to have a really good, strong, crisp follow-up sequence and replay sequence for everybody who didn't show up or who didn't buy on the live webinar, and really hit them like with a 3 to 5 day follow-up process that is really replay. Here's what you missed. Here's the value. Here's why you need this program. If you want in, hey, it's X% off. Here's the special offer. You got to get in. The clock is ticking. Show that deadline and let's go. Right.
Yeah.
And then it's about butts and seats, about how do we get 100 people registered, knowing that we want to get 20 to 30 to show up live. 1,000's better, but 100 is more realistic. And so your YouTube traffic, how your calls to action on YouTube could be, your email marketing that you're sending out, let's call it every day, 3 days a week, whatever. You could do a campaign. If you're going into a webinar, make sure that you're hitting that email list regular and often. And then your social media presence, wherever you're showing up on social media, making sure that you're just letting people know that you have a webinar, and you might call it a live training. You might call it whatever the term that's going to resonate with your audience.
Masterclass, workshop, live training, something. I wouldn't do webinar.
Yeah. Webinar feels kind of like marketing.
Businessy.
Webinar says I'm selling you something sometimes, depending on your audience. And so really, and I'm not a big fan of holding back either in webinars, right? Because with all the content and experience you have, you could tell them everything you know, but with, let's say, 40 minutes to actually tell them on a webinar, it's not going to be everything you know, right? It's 40 minutes worth. So I don't hold back, because if people see and feel that value, they're going to have a greater likelihood of seeing and feeling the value inside your paid program. Right. That's kind of my view. I know people differ from that, but that's kind of my view. Give them as much as you can and show them that your paid stuff is 100 times better. Yeah. Right. And then it's butts in seat, man. It's registrations. It's leveraging other people's audiences. It's all of your current platforms that you're on today: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all of those, your email list more regularly. And then it's how do you get in front of other people's audiences? And I think with your knowledge and expertise, your credentialing, your background in ministry, and your master's and like marriage expertise, whatever that is, it's crazy to think that all of these podcasts out there wouldn't love to have you on as a guest. And you are a relationship expert. And I don't know how many podcasts there are in the world on relationships. I'm guessing there are a bunch.
Lots for
There
sure.
are a bunch. And that could be another strategy for you strictly to drive people to webinars. Could be go out there on different tools like a podmatch.com or different tools like that that can help connect you with those influential podcasts out in the world. Approach their hosts, offer up a very specific topic that you can help share and teach their audience on an episode. And it could be a different topic than your webinar. It could be kind of a piece of what you would teach on your webinar, but it's all about adding that value, being that great guest with your experience, and then funneling people back into your call to action, which is, hey, come to our next webinar, and we're gonna love on you and help you and support you, and then I'm gonna show you how to get more support at the end of that.
Yeah. The webinar would be a little tough on podcasts since you don't know when they're coming out unless you're running your webinar weekly.
Evergreen or something, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, certainly. I did Podmatch for a while. I froze it because I
Yeah.
kind of ran out of, so I was like, I'll freeze it for a while and then wait 5 months and jump back on, see if they've added some more people. But yeah, no, I connected with quite a few people on there.
But if you go on the podcast episodes, you send them into a lead magnet and you get them on your list, and now you can be hitting your list
Yeah.
all the time for your webinars, right? For your
Yeah.
registrations. Just set up a really easy rinse and repeat webinar. I know we're doing more of that at Flip Lifestyle. We're leaning more into webinars so we can help and support the community. And there's going to be an opportunity for people to join Flip Lifestyle at the end of that. We make no bones about it. Hey, we're a business. We're
Sure.
here to help and support people, and we're going to give you value along the way. But ultimately, we want you to come in and start build and grow your online business. And to do that, you've got to have access to these tools and resources and support, and you got to join the program for that. Same with you. Your relationship sucks, and I'm going to help it get better. But to do that, I can't just email you out all the answers to that every day. You've got to join the program so we can get real and get deeper into the solution. And your email list growing, leveraging the email list as it is today, growing it through maybe different podcast guesting and things. Like, you don't have your own podcast, do you?
I'm about to kick it off again. I did one with a couple other people called the RelationShot we did it for probably 3 years and put it on hold. So we're gonna relaunch with call it the Simple Marriage podcast. And so yeah,
Okay.
I've already got a Simple Marriage, 5 steps to a simple marriage lead magnet set up with a tripwire to some videos. So I'm ready to go when we start pumping the podcast again.
Yeah, that's awesome,
So,
man.
and this is on the dating side, but I'm kicking around doing a dating podcast this fall as well. So
Yeah, everybody's dating and not getting married these days, it seems like, right? It's just,
yeah,
I don't want to get married.
yeah, there's a lot of people that are struggling trying to date and can't figure it out because there's so much bad advice out there. So there's definitely a place to step into on that side too.
Yeah, cool. So I teased it in the beginning. So number one, I think there's some things there that you can look at what's the next thing you want to do? Get to 100 members, in my view. Let's get you to 100 members. And there's some of the strategies and things that I would lean into. Now, I teased it in the beginning about you're one of our Flip Lifestyle certified coaches, and you came into this, and people listening to this, a lot of you have maybe already met with Eric on a one-on-one coaching call. And the reason that Eric is such a great coach is you can hear his background and experience of all the things he's been through and done and started and tried and failed and learned and gotten better. And he's 1 or 2 or 3 steps ahead of where our students are, and they can really relate to you in the journey that you are on, and you can really speak the language that they can understand. It's hard to understand Shane sometimes. He's been doing this for 10 years.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
he's been doing it. He's grown and risen, but to have coaches like you on board who are still progressing, still having all these successes and learning for people to learn from. Tell me about the experience, how the experience as being a Flip Lifestyle coach has been for you.
Yeah, it's been awesome. It's everything you just said, right? It's sometimes I'm having conversations and it's like, you know what? what you need, I just figured out last week. This is perfect, right?
Yeah.
And other times it's like the question you're asking is also the question I'm asking, and what I just found out over here.
Yeah.
And then you're learning too. So, you're having conversations with people in businesses all over the place.
Yeah.
But it's been cool because while all the ideas and the audiences they're serving and the ways they're doing it are different, so much of it's just universal, which is like marriage, right? Every couple's different. There's so many nuances, but then there's some foundational things that are necessary for everybody who wants a healthy relationship, that are necessary for everybody who wants a healthy business, right? You've got to have the stuff we're talking about. You gotta create an audience. You gotta create content. You got to have a way for them to find you. You got to have a way to follow up with them. You got to have a system to follow up with them. And so it's cool because it's just, some of that stuff's universal. And so it doesn't matter, what somebody's doing. And then a lot of it's, mindset stuff too, right? And so a lot of them turn into counseling sessions, which, hey, just so happens I have some experience doing that too, because life gets in the way of business, right? You had all these plans, and then last week something happened in a relationship with a family member, and it throws you off for a month, and you come back and feel like you don't know where to start. And so a lot of it is encouragement, coaching, mindset on top of just practical business stuff.
Yeah. And what makes you such a great coach, in my view, not only the online business and the things you've learned and you're helping people with, but the fact of your relationship expertise and helping people, because so much of what people struggle with in our community, all communities, is the mindset, right? It's the belief that they can do these things and the struggles that they have sometimes with their spouses, with being on board and not on board. And sometimes a coaching call is just to help people get into the right mindset and frame of mind to be able to take the next step in their online business.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why the Flip Lifestyle community is so important. When you're out here trying to do this by yourself, because a lot of times you may not have a spouse that supports you. You may not have any friends around you that think what you're doing is a good idea because they think you should, punch a clock and depend on the paycheck, that even though that person can fire you tomorrow, there's security right in the paycheck. And so, that's the other part I love about the coaching is it's in the context of a community where people are getting support from each other, they're learning from each other, they're connecting with each other. There's so much outside of just the coaching that's happening in the community that you really need. That's why we all do memberships. We believe in the power of community. And so Flip Lifestyle has been that. And it's been cool to participate in both sides of the community, to be a taker and a giver and some of both at the same time.
Man, that's awesome. That's good stuff. So if you resonate with Eric and you're in Flip Lifestyle into one of our coaching programs and you want to sit down with Eric, all you got to do is go through your normal scheduling process, find Eric Wooten, and he can help unpack mindset and business and all this and give you all of that knowledge he's gained over the last few years as he's built his online business and worked on countless relationships out there, helping other people kind of get on the right side of that. So good stuff, Eric. We're out of time for this one today, but if people want to connect with you and learn more about what you do, your online business, what's the one best place for people to go right now?
Yeah, just go to alteredmarriage.com/gift. I got a gift for you, a free giveaway. And altered is spelled ALTARED, marriage.com/gift. I got a freebie for you. Whether you're dating or married, I got some good stuff for you that'll help you move in the right direction.
Go to alteredmarriage.com/gift. Check Eric out. Check out what he's doing. If you need some relationship help, he is nothing but an email away to help you out. Eric, it's been a pleasure, my friend. Hope to do it again sometime. Take care.
Absolutely.
So that wraps up my interview with Eric Wooten, alteredmarriage.com. He's built a fantastic online business that is helping so many people out in the world overcome challenges in their marriage and their relationships. I encourage you to reach out to him at alteredmarriage.com/gift. Connect with Eric and he can help you too. And we'd love to help you become the hero of your story, make more money online, live the best life that you can possibly live, just like we've helped Eric today. And we do that inside the Flip Lifestyle community. To learn more about making money online and Flip Lifestyle. Head over to fliplifestyle.com for free resources on getting started or taking your next step. That's all the time we have today for this episode. I can't wait to see you next time. Until then, make the decision to get out there, to take action, and to do whatever it takes to flip your life. We'll see you then.